where now these betting companies are being threatened, it seems that nobody is looking at the part they are playing in developing sports. Is it that the sports industry is being ignored?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, if you look at where the government is, it was maybe, I can give an example. If you look at smoking, which is a serious vice, and the government wants to protect its citizens by not exposing them to a lot of health hazards, and yet they want to still have companies like BAT operating. So when they go to regulate BAT and the rest, you find that they come and strike a balance, and they tell you when you're advertising, put on the cigarette package some warnings, yeah, so that they can try to balance from the revenue that they're getting from the smoking industry and protect their citizens. If you come to sports, government has a serious role to play. Football is the biggest industry in the world. Let me be a bit biased with football because I'm here because of football. When the government clamps down the betting industry, and they know very well that this betting industry is actually now funding football in this country, they are somehow telling us that we can do away with football, but get it right in regulating the betting industry. And to me, I think they're not balancing the act, because football is employing so many people in this country, or it is actually bringing together so many people in this country, that the government responsibility should be, they must make it work, because it's their responsibility at the end of the day. I know clubs like Mombasa FC, they can be called like their community clubs. But for FC, let me not talk about our noisy neighbors, Gormaya. For FC, we have a national outlook.
18-time champions, noisy neighbors.
We will come to that.
Yes.
We will come to that. If you come to who is who in football in this country, if you look at FC, we are supported across board. Let me be a little bit tribal, by all tribes in this country. So when the government tells us that SportsPesa is not paying taxes, we want to close them down, and they know very well this is the arm that is feeding AFC, which is like a national football team.
Yes.
You are telling us, in essence, you actually want to kill football in this country. And if I was in the government shoe, it is my responsibility to balance this act and make sure that football ticks, and even build on what SportsPesa has been doing. Because to be honest, SportsPesa has been trying to do so much in football at the expense of the government just watching. We have seen them coming up with the sports fund, which to date, having been enacted or introduced in this country some 5 to 7 years ago, nothing has happened. So if we are not careful, and if we go the way we are going, and make sure that a company like SportsPesa winds up and says that enough is enough, we are going to kill these two great teams in this country. Yeah. And once you kill them, I can assure you, the Wazitos and the rest who are coming up with some little money at the moment, they will be there for 2-3 seasons, and they will wind up. Hence, our football will completely be dead.
Should the unthinkable happen, that SportsPesa now leaves the scene, and they decide that you renegotiate your contracts, or they terminate contracts with Mombasa FC Celebrates and also the Kenyan Premier League, how prepared are you to mitigate this kind of thing that's happening?
I want to say we are not prepared at all. As I say,
that is gloom and doom.
Yes, it's gloom and doom. In the sense that I've just given a brief analysis of the sources of revenue. Really, I do not see any other source of revenue. Yes, as I said, gate collections are dead. Merchandise is dead. And so what is left, and there's no support from the government, as it were. We have been known as regular participants in the continental, the CAF Confederations Cup, or the African, the CAF Champions League. We've been known and referred to pejoratively as beggars, and which we are indeed. In the sense that constantly we have been. I was a very regular visitor when Achesa was the Minister for Sports. I was a very regular nuisance type of a visitor, spending hours on end at the Kencom House office to try to get tickets for my team to go and play, to participate at the continental level. We are again faced with a similar competition next month, And I am scared. I actually fear that we might not be able to. We might not be able to.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I must say this because I do not see where we will be able to get funds. And an air ticket, I just want to give this for consumption of sports lovers. One air ticket or one away match costs us between 7 to 8 million shillings. Just one. Forgetting about the return leg, which normally in our own country would be in the region of 3 million shillings. So to host one a team, just away match and home match, is 10 million shillings.
That is
so
serious.
if you multiply that by maybe just a number of about eight matches, it's about 80 million. That is excess of the amount of sponsorship. So come locally just to be able to pay your players. Sometimes you hear there's a go-slow and people ask and people even try to suggest that the leaders have dipped their hands into the till. There's nothing. It's bad. It's a bad situation.
Just in a nutshell, if you were to write a memo, what is that punchline that you write to the government so that it unlocks all this as we go? Because we are done by time now.
I would say ensure that sports survive, and in particular football, which I think is the most popular sport in this country.
What would Shikanda write?
I'm worried with the pattern. We saw super sport, sponsor football, exit. We are seeing sports sponsor football, exiting. To me, that is a bad pattern. What I can say, the government should balance, make sure that sports, especially football in this country, survive for the citizens of this country to actually enjoy the biggest sport, the biggest industry in the world.
Those are the two leaders, industry leaders also in the sports, the chairman of Gor Mahia, Ambrose Racher, as well as he's also the chairman of the Kenyan Premier League. I've been talking also to Dan Shikanda, who recently was elected as AFC Leopards